Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Not sure how many of them we have, but in any case, welcome back to Lost in Postulation. And please join me in welcoming the socks before pants man himself. It is Nicola Volpe once again.
For life. Always socks before pants. Actually, you haven't gotten too much support on that one.
That's unfortunate, actually.
From the audience.
I thought I might get a nice 50%, but no.
And I tried your tactic also of just, as you say, shoving it up there by putting on the pants
exact
first.
words,
well,
but...
along those lines.
All right.
And I'm not happy with it. I do, we can bridge this gap by agreeing that in summer, I can adopt your strategy, but 100%. In winter, man,
100%, yeah. But I did hear we got some hate, particularly when my mention of ankle socks seems to have gone down quite badly.
Yeah, from the fashionistas, actually.
Yeah, who do know. They do know their stuff.
Who do know. Who claim to know.
So maybe I need to up my game. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one actually even said, wow, Neil and his ankle socks, that's nasty.
Yeah, I feel that's...
nasty.
I feel that's a little harsh, but... I mean, even still, I'll take the point. I mean, they are maybe not the most fashionable item you can wear right now in 2023, but I like them.
Yeah, okay, but that's good. But along those lines, we always like to start these episodes off, for any new listeners that are still joining, with a mundane postulation. And Neil, today, what I was thinking about was sparkling water and how polarizing that can be, actually.
Insanely. It's one of those ones that seems to unnecessarily garner proper emotions from people when you bring it up. Now, I've evolved in this, I'm proud to say, over the years, and actually I'm probably unnecessary or unduly proud of my journey, because I was as a youngster a fervent still supporter. All the way through, I was like, I'm not even gonna, I would spit it out rather than drink it, the sparkling, right? Then I think something changed within me in perhaps my teen years, and then I realized, no, an adult can do both, An adult can tolerate sparkling water, because I used to really hate it.
The prickles on the tongue.
No, just the flavor, because there's this aromatic kind of thing to sparkling that I don't love,
Okay.
I just think it's offensive. If you let sparkling water go flat, you'll taste what I'm talking about. It's the weird kind of otherness of it that makes it not quite water.
Okay.
So you can hear that my preference clearly lies on the still side.
Yep.
What about you?
So, I love sparkling water. When I was growing, Italian family, sparkling water is a big thing in Italy. Digestive properties get touted, blah blah blah. Most of it is crap, right?
What was I going to say?
But it's very much part of the culture that at dinner you will take both at the table, or one and the other, and go back and forth. But growing up in the US, when I was growing up, sparkling water hadn't really hit yet. Ooh. People really didn't like it, it was only if you went to a really, really fancy restaurant. So basically, when we would go back to Italy to visit family, say in the summer or at Christmas or something, I would stock up. I would only drink sparkling water for the whole time there, just to be hydrated with sparkling water, right?
Okay.
And then when we were home, and then slowly but surely it started to, come also in the US. What I found though, then I think I got into the habit as a student, penny pinching, that I would dilute my sparkling water to make it last longer.
Gotta stretch that water.
But then I got myself to a point where I couldn't take water that's too sparkling anymore.
Yeah.
So to this day, I will be in the restaurant or I will be at home and I will dilute my sparkling water.
I've seen you do this. And this does attract, I'm sure it will attract now from this episode, a lot of detractors. There will be people calling for your head here. This is not acceptable.
Well, for me, it's the best of both worlds, because I get the, digestive elements, let's say, the bubbliness up to a level I want of the sparkling water, if that makes any sense, without, getting attacked, because some waters are very sparkling. So if you take in the Netherlands and in Belgium, they have the Spa Rood.
Oh, yeah.
That's the most sparkling water in the world.
Heavy stuff.
Perrier, same thing.
Is Perrier a sparkly one?
Yeah, super sparkly.
San Pel, where does that fall?
San Pellegrino, I think, is almost a balance, but I still dilute it. So we always have San Pel in the house, but I dilute it.
Some SP ready to go. Yeah. But then tell me this, have you ever, and you probably haven't, tried the Lithuanian mineral water that they have there in their bottles, right?
No.
Because this blew my mind when I went there.
Okay.
It looks exactly like bottled water that we buy here. The difference is it's salty, properly salty. Now, I see. You've reacted as if it might not just be Lithuanian, but it was Lithuania where I first tried it. And this thing is like as popular, if not more popular than bottled water generally. And just like you say with the carbonation being aiding digestive, maybe not totally true. Likewise, a lot of Lithuanians that I've talked to have said, yeah, but it's so good for you. It's hydration, it's a hangover cure, it's like minerals, all the things you need.
Right.
It is literally salty water. That is all that it is. Like, at least taste-wise.
But that's interesting that you say that, and I want to try this. In Spain, particularly in Catalonia, they have a Vichy Catalan, which has these same properties, same type of taste, and they say the same things. The Catalans of, you know, before going to bed after a big night out, or even just a night where you've had a lot of that salty jamon. Take this down, you know, and so actually that reminds me of that. There are salty sparkling waters, and they're absolutely huge. They're huge cult followings. Yeah, exactly.
But only in certain parts of the world.
Right, exactly.
Well, I propose then that in a future episode we do a water tier list. We get them all lined up. We rank them in terms of
blind testing,
with still water being one of the options.
I love it. And but then, as far as still water goes, so for example, in Italy, and it's something I will never understand. They're huge on mineral water no matter what, right? So people are going and buying all these bottles of water all the time, even for still, right? Now, where do you land on tap water versus mineral bottle water?
Funny enough, I got into this a few years ago doing the research, and in most places in the developed world, tap water is cleaner than bottled, actually.
There you go.
So we have like state-of-the-art, in most of Western Europe, for example, we have absolutely state-of-the-art piping.
And you're going on the record, that's fact-checked.
I'm like 99.9% sure that you can pretty categorically state that it's cleaner actually coming out of your tap.
That's
now,
good.
The second thing that I love about it, which Ireland did back in, I think it was the 80s, was the fluoridization of our drinking water.
Fluoridization.
Now, adding fluoride to drinking water. Now, that actually is a controversial thing that, if introduced today, would receive kind of anti-vax opposition, like in the style of
like
the COVID
everything
vax,
does.
like everything does. But funny enough, if you talk to any doctors, especially Irish doctors, they'll say that introducing fluoride to the drinking water of Ireland was one of the best public health initiatives Ireland ever undertook. And why? Because number one, fluoride is amazing for your teeth.
Right.
So you're allowing everyone to drink it, and there's no downsides to it, basically. So it's like a property that, or a chemical that's able to be added to drinking water with no negative side effect, and has the benefit of improving oral hygiene.
Well, and is that fluoride as opposed to chlorine then in the water? Or
you don't want chlorine in your water.
No, exactly. But a lot do, right? When you drink tap water in a lot of places, you say it tastes like chlorine.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, even here in Denmark, they do a process to make the water less hard as well, like to soften the water, and that also can leave a bit of an aftertaste or change a bit the taste of the water. They recently increased the level of softness in the Frederiksberg tap water, and you could literally taste the change, like from one day to the next.
Okay.
So I mean, tap water is I'm sure there's connoisseurs out there who would say they can say which country has the best tasting tap water.
Right.
I'm an Irish tap water guy myself, unsurprisingly.
Big fluoride guy.
Big fluoride guy.
That's why your teeth are so
sparkling
great.
white. Yeah. Well, I left Ireland, so yeah, maybe that's
going downhill.
Going downhill. But that's where I'm at with tap water.
Okay, fantastic. Well, listeners, Neil Fitzpatrick, man of many talents, including a water aficionado.
Little did I know, actually.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And you have 8 minutes of a podcast done with that.
Easy.
So, Lost in Postulation. Quick admin before we move on. We have a real treat lined up for you guys today in the main segment. It's going to get real. It's going to get emotional. We might have some waterworks from Neil. And in the meantime, listeners, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, click subscribe in the podcast apps of your choosing. It's quite easy. It's a one button, and then you will automatically get each week's episode in your feed. At the moment, we're releasing on Wednesdays. While you're at it, why don't you just pop in a 5-star review for the guys? It really helps to grow the podcast. Yeah. We'll take 4 if you want to give 4. If you start to go lower than that, maybe
it's frowned upon.
Reevaluate some things in your life.
We don't love that. Yeah.
No, exactly. So that's where we are. And you can always reach us at where, Neil?
It's at In Postulation on our famous Twitter account, growing rapidly at all times. And you can email us at lostinpostulation@gmail.com.
Yes. There we are. So we will stop for a break, and then we will come back, listeners, with a very special original concept. Listeners, welcome back to Lost in Postulation. we're here as promised. We have a special one lined up for you. So, Neil, last episode, so episode 10, we discussed the wide world of sports fads.
Absolutely.
Sports having their brief day in the sun, spiking, and then going away, maybe coming back again 10 years later. And we touched upon very briefly, I think, towards the end, about the fad, let's say, the trends in endurance sports, right? We talked about more people doing marathons, doing these obstacle course races, and so on and so forth. Something we didn't mention, and that came to mind after we recorded that time, and then I went down a rabbit hole about it, is mountaineering. So mountaineering has had its own kind of commercial boom. And specifically, if we take Mount Everest, for example, right? Something you can't be more in the zeitgeist than Mount Everest. Just in the 90s, there used to be about 50 or 60 people that attempted to summit every year. Okay.
Yeah.
Only, right?
Jesus.
That was in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And today, it's about 600 a year. On the highest peak in the world.
Yeah. It's kind of in a way it's depressing. Like I'm not
Why?
sure, because what it tells me is that it didn't just suddenly get way more fun to climb Mount Everest, right? It's always been what it is. So it's only the reason it's exploded in popularity is because people want to be able to say I climbed Everest,
And pay a lot of money to go and do it.
Yeah. Oh, a hell of a lot. I mean, I'm sure the Sherpas are making bank off it, but like it just strikes me as like the part of our culture globally now that I just don't love, which is like, how can I upgrade myself to be more cool to people, to be more impressive to people, And okay, you could go climb K2, it's called, or like
the most dangerous in the world.
A more difficult climb perhaps, and you would get less respect than saying, oh, I climbed Everest,
Right.
And I wonder how many of the people who have made it their mission are doing it for maybe the wrong reasons, like for kind of superficial reasons, rather than something like this will give me the ultimate meaning of my life, or something more meaningful. That's just this is what I infer when something grows like this much in popularity.
Yeah.
It's a little suspicious, I would say.
Yeah. Cynical but fair.
Yeah.
Cynical but fair.
Me all the way. Yeah.
And maybe there's something there also about what it says about us in terms of we as a species still, no matter what, have to look for something with a bit more risk to do to make our lives more exciting.
100%.
Regardless, right?
Yeah. And if it wasn't Everest, it'd be something else, I'm
Right.
sure. Fair point. Yeah.
Right. So I think there's something there to that, but there's also a general fascination with it, right? So it's not just the 600 men and women that go and attempt it every year. The rest of us, I can also speak for myself, when the documentary about them comes out on Netflix or whatever, or there's a podcast with one of these mountaineers, we tune in. We're still fascinated by it. I mean, I remember even in an early geography class when I must have been in elementary school, when we were first talking, about the longest rivers in the world. The only thing anybody remembered was, what is the tallest mountain in the world? Mount Everest. And that becomes a metaphor that kind of follows you the rest of your life in a way as well,
100%. It'd be interesting to do something more on Everest in general, like, because it has this kind of interesting place in everyone's psyche. Like, I could go to probably many countries in the world and just say Everest, and people would be like, yeah, the man. Like,
Right.
They don't speak English, they don't speak, like, I'm sure it's just like, it's a reference point for all of us,
Right.
The highest place on earth. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So there's something there. It's up in the clouds. It is 8,848 meters high. That's about 29,000 feet. A Boeing cruises over the Atlantic at about 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
That's how high this place is.
It's a bit too high for me.
So, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Although I've seen you on obstacle courses, on ropes courses,
true.
absolutely killing it.
50 meters up. So yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
So in light of that, Neil, and in light of previous postulations we've done, you've introduced me to the ultimate celebrity interrail trip,
Absolutely.
which was a disaster.
It went as well as it could have gone.
Right?
Yeah.
Then, a couple episodes later, you were on a plane from Singapore to New York, sandwiched in between our beloved Chris Rock and Will Smith.
Absolutely.
And you resolved the conflict, which then another chaos agent shattered.
True. We got some listener postulation on that too. Yeah.
Right. So, I'm going to welcome you back with Ultimate Celebrity Everest Climb. Cue the dramatic music. Now, how do you feel about that? You are going to Everest.
I don't feel great about it purely myself. And the prospect of celebrities joining me is nothing but more stressful. So, in fact, this sounds like my worst possible thing ever. But yeah.
So, the United Nations has passed a resolution for you to do something nobody has ever done before.
Okay.
And that's for you, together with a Sherpa, lead this group of celebrities, a wide range of celebrities, up to Summit Everest in an effort to achieve world peace.
Oh.
The UN Security Council has actually backed this resolution unanimously. If you are able to arrive there, we will have world peace.
Wow.
Now, how do you feel about it?
What a deal. Okay.
The stakes are high.
Yeah, clearly there's a purpose there I can get on board with. I, of course, have many questions about why the hell am I being selected. Let's assume that's all.
Why were you on a plane with
I know.
Chris Rock
there were many.
Will Smith?
There is some suspension of disbelief needed. So let's say it all makes sense and I've been selected. I have no choice but to do it. Of course, I'm on board. I'm ready to achieve world peace. So I guess let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So they've compiled lists, the UN Security Council, of celebrities per category, which you have to choose. And then you need to choose a role each one plays in your team to reach that summit.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, before we get into that and some additional rules, maybe some more context on Everest to give you more of a taste of where you're going, right?
Fantastic.
So we've covered how high it is. Now, the journey, how long does it take, right? It's about 19 days round trip to the base camp and back. So that means it's about 9.5 days to the base camp, right? At the base camp, you are already sitting, my friend, at 5,364 meters.
Oh.
That's almost 18,000 feet.
Oh, okay. I thought we were done in 19 days. No, that's just to get to the base camp.
No, we're just getting started. You're getting to the base camp where you're already probably at the highest you've ever been before, and where you need to spend some time acclimatizing.
Okay, so clearly I'm going to have to quit my job. I thought I was going to fit this into my annual leave, but no.
It's sponsored. So we'll get into the financing later as well. So don't worry. You'll be okay.
Okay.
And not to mention that you'll be set for life if you do reach the top.
That is also true.
There's other incentives.
That is true.
Okay. Now, the way the acclimatizing works when you're there, and this is knowledge that I actually picked up from a mountain guide while I was in Argentina recently.
Okay.
When you're at the base camp, you go up a little bit and come back. Then the next day you kind of go up a little bit more and come back till you're starting to get acclimatized.
Okay.
Now, let's say you guys all get acclimatized. It takes about 40 days to summit on average from the base camp.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
That's extremely long.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. No.
That's nearly a month and a half.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm regretting it already.
Well,
Jeez.
Now you know why it's 600 people doing it a year and not, 6,000. That's part of it. So that's kind of what you're looking at. So you're spending a significant amount with these people.
Okay,
now, keep in mind that you are going to go to, half a year of training with all these people beforehand to make sure we can make this a success. Again, sponsored by the United Nations.
Wow.
So now, don't choose a team of best friends because this is not about making friends.
Okay.
But you do need to be able to spend significant amount of time with these people, right? It is a factor. So now Everest, in terms of the climb itself, it is not considered the most technical climb, but it does get so high that when summiting that last part, a jet stream can hit. I mean, you are flying.
Yeah, literally an airplane.
You're an airplane, basically, right? So, and that can result in winds, Neil, of upwards of 320 kilometers an hour.
Very fast.
You don't say.
Yeah.
So that's like what, a Formula One car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So now put all of that together. 6,338 all-time summiters. That's as of January 2023. So you're going to go up there with this team. You're going to be an elite company. The death rate is about 1%. Okay.
That's actually decent, I would say.
Yeah, and it's very weather induced. So there's the big from Krakauer's book Into Thin Air in the 90s when there's like a big weather disaster that that's what happens and that drives the statistics. But
if I may, actually,
please,
isn't there a death rate for like every marathon, which is probably not like a million miles off this. It's like usually most marathons have somebody just with sudden adult death syndrome.
Yeah. Then you have a cardiac arrest or so over a race with maybe 30,000 people. Yeah, well, it's
like 0.0000, but
exactly.
like still, I'm like, I was expecting something like a solid 5 or something, but no, this is one is
so
okay.
There you have.
Yeah, 99 times you can climb it and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, from the base camp to the summit, the success rate is about 65%.
Okay, so yeah, that makes it less appealing. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So yes, you may not die.
Yeah, you'll survive, but you
may not complete the mission.
That would be frustrating.
Right.
Yeah.
As mentioned, commercial boom since the 90s. So there are not just Sherpas, there are more guides, there's oxygen. The base camp has become, more and more advanced. There's more to do there, more to drink, if you will. But I do not recommend drinking alcohol at such altitudes.
Probably,
the Sherpas also don't.
Yeah, I would say that's not ideal. Yeah.
Now, joining you on the trip, no matter who you choose, will be Sherpa Kamirita. Sherpa Kamirita is a legend of the game if there ever was one. He holds the record for the amount of summits of Everest with 26.
I loves climbing, yeah.
The guy loves climbing, and second place in that ranking is his younger brother with about 19.
The lads, yeah.
How about that?
They love climbing, yeah, jeez.
So Kamirita, Mr. Rita, the Sherpa,
coming.
he's going with you.
That's deeply reassuring.
You'll be in good hands. And these guys are incredibly strong, even though they're not, super tall or anything. They're incredibly strong. So they are also able, if need be, to carry a lot of stuff and potentially some of your teammates.
Okay, good to know. Glad to hear.
I mean, it's child's play for Sherpa Kamirita.
Yeah, I mean, he's just having fun. Yeah.
Talk about an unsung hero, huh? Whenever you turn on and see a documentary, it's never about the Sherpas. It's always about, the guy paying to go on it.
Yeah. It's like, remember Bear Grylls or whatever? It's like they never talk about the cameraman who's doing all of what Bear Grylls is doing plus filming.
Exactly.
There's the unsung heroes.
So now I've given you what you need to know about Everest, about the beast you're gonna go towards.
All right.
And now I will give you the rules, and then we'll get to drafting. How about that?
Hit me. Let's do it.
Okay. So you will draft one individual from each of these categories, plus then one more as an alternate, as a reserve.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that person needs to have a specific character because they will go through all of the training with you. They will come up to the base camp with you guys, and then they will stay put at the base camp unless anything happens. So that to keep in mind.
None of the glory, all of the work. Yeah.
Right?
Jeez.
Now, everyone in the team, apart from the alternate, has to summit and has to be happy about the trip in order to be able to promote the end product for this piece, which will be up to you guys, a book, a song, a film, to the world. Okay?
Absolutely.
So it's a balance. You need people that can give you success, but also, that will not come away too traumatized from the experience. No, right?
Agree.
So we talked about choosing the alternate who will stay at the base camp. Now, you have the right to insert one wild card if you do not deem any participants in a specific category worthy of the challenge. What does that mean? If we talk actors, for example, and you don't like any of the names out there, you can nominate your own actor, take him or her with you, but then you can't nominate anybody else for the other categories. So you play the odds.
I'm locking in the other categories, basically.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Neil, the categories are athlete, actor, musician/author, that's one category, world leader, current or former, and business person. Once you've drafted everybody, you will put them each in a specific role.
Yeah.
For success here.
That's great.
So keep these roles in mind as you're making your selection. Those roles are the captain, the entertainer, the food rationer, the one in charge of oxygen intake. I couldn't come up with a specific term for that.
Okay.
The navigator. And then, of course, your reserve alternate.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I feel like, first of all, I'm shocked that you're not into board games because this is like top tier, complex strategic board game stuff here.
This is real stuff, huh?
If this has awakened some sort of an interest in you in board games, I strongly recommend you get into it because this is the type of stuff you do in many a board game.
Well, I like board games. I just don't like losing to you at board games.
That is unfortunate. That is one of the downsides. No, but so I feel great, and I actually think what it'll be the best approach here is to start with just recruiting.
Yes.
and then finding roles, because I'm not going to be able to hold it all together. Right?
Exactly.
And I'm not going to plan when to play my wild card really until we find a spot. So it's going to be kind of improv stuff here.
All right. Yeah. Well, listeners, here we are. Neil, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
So the draft for the Ultimate Celebrity Everest Climb 2023 starts now. Which category do you want to start with?
I feel like we have to hit athlete first to get our like strongest performer out there.
All right. Your options for athlete, Neil, in no particular order, are 23-time Grand Slam champion straight out of Compton, Serena Williams. 2-hour, 15-minute marathon legend, Paula Radcliffe, out of England. Again, out of England, 7-time Formula One champion, Sir Lewis Hamilton. From Baltimore, with 28 Olympic medals, the most decorated Olympian of all time, Michael Phelps. Out of Akron, Ohio, the NBA's all-time leading scorer and still going strong, 4-time NBA Finals champion, LeBron James. From Spring, Texas, with 7 Olympic medals, still only 25 years old, gymnast Simone Biles. And finally, from Rosario, Argentina, 5-time Ballon d'Or winner and recent world champion, Lionel Messi.
And that's a lineup. Like, if this was the group, I would be pretty confident. If I could just lock them all in.
That's a whole other ballgame.
It certainly is. Now, many things to consider here. I think where my heart takes me first and foremost, having heard the whole list, is still Serena, actually, from the very start. And the reason is, like, if you really like close your eyes and picture Serena on Everest, you can actually kind of see it, you know?
Okay.
Like, you can see her kind of all wrapped up and just like powering through and going for it. Like, and it's Serena, right? So she's like insanely determined. She's going to do an amazing job no matter what. So I'm leaning towards Serena. That was my thinking, right?
And the mental toughness of a singles tennis player.
Exactly. Now, the one thing I also had to consider was, of these athletes, who specializes in endurance specifically, right? So then Paula, of course, comes to the fore, and I'm like, okay, yeah, she is a phenomenal endurance athlete, right? But I'm wondering as well if this role will have multiple important functions, such as leading as well, like the personality part. And that's what I'm questioning.
Right.
I'll tell you who I'm not going to consider, unfortunately, is Lewis Hamilton.
Sir Lewis,
yeah. And like, huge fan of him as a driver, right? But I have also keenly observed that, I mean, the guy has his preferences. He likes things to be just so. And I don't think he'd be in it for the long haul here. I think he would be like, why am I doing this? You know?
And not necessarily a team player, might have a change of heart.
I think he's a Lewis player.
Okay.
Lewis and Roscoe, his dog. Yeah. Okay. That's what
Roscoe, his dog. Yeah. And Roscoe would not be able to summit Everest. So
no,
that
Roscoe would stay
answer.
home and he wouldn't like that. So I think we can rule out Lewis for sure. The only other one got 2 more people that jumped out. So Simone Biles, first of all, is probably one of the most impressive athletes, full stop. Like, if you actually go and watch like her performances
of all time, I would
just insane.
Yeah.
Like, and in a world of incredible gymnasts, she's by far the best one, or at least like when in certain competitions she's been like by far the best. The only problem I see with Simone is 2 things. Number one, being a gymnast is about bursts of energy and performance, explosive energy.
Correct.
And that's not what we need here. Actually, we need the opposite here. We need slow release energy over time, long term, burning all that fat, burning all the muscles you've built up. And Simone, God bless her, is a small lady. She is
very small.
5 foot or 3, 4 max.
At most, I would say. And gymnasts are the ones that there's a reason they retire so young.
Yeah.
They damage their body brutally.
So she's someone who has all of the explosive power to flip 3 times in the air, and like, amazing. But I don't know if that's the same power we need on this trip, which is like endurance power over a long period of time. Maybe that's
a fair reflection.
Yeah,
I think.
Maybe, and that could be me assuming. Who knows? But that then takes us down to Messi. Now, why was I pulled towards Messi here? Because I don't think he's the strongest athlete on this list. I don't think has the best endurance at all. I'd say he's probably reasonably fine on endurance, like a pro footballer level, but nothing beyond that, let's say.
Right.
But Messi is like famously a phenomenal leader, right? And I have just glanced down at the roles needed, and we do need someone called like a captain or a motivator. So I only for that reason I was leaning a bit towards Messi.
Okay.
But I think all things considered, having now talked through it a bit, I'm and I haven't even mentioned some of the others, but I'm going to keep it short and sweet here.
Okay.
I think we're going to have to lock in Serena Williams.
Serena Williams it is. I don't think you'll regret that choice. I think she's a true leader. She's a true champion. And she is tough as nails.
Absolutely.
Now, you didn't even mention, though, LeBron or Baltimore Michael Phelps.
I didn't. And now LeBron, I kind of treated a bit like Simone in the sense that basketball, being a basketball player, bursts of energy, bursts of speed, like being subbed off every few plays, it's just not what we're looking for as an athlete.
Would it change anything that he says he invests $1 million a year in his body and his nutrition?
That doesn't change anything other than me being a bit skeptical about what that means. But yeah.
Fair enough.
In any case, yeah. And I did also think of Michael Phelps and his gargantuan frame, which could help us. He just, if you're tall, it makes it easier to climb the mountain, I guess. But again, there's no water here, I'm sorry, Michael. And I mean, I'm sure he's a phenomenal swimmer, but we're going to be moving up some mountainous terrain here, Michael. So I feel it's just not for you.
All right, Michael, your medals will not get you anywhere in Nepal.
Now, come back to me when we're swimming the channel or something, and I know who I'm picking. But
absolutely. All right.
So,
Serena Williams is your first pick in the draft. What category should we go to next?
Let's jump down to this world leader one.
Okay, so that is current/former world leader. Are you ready to hear your options?
I think so.
So, former U.S. President Barack Hussein Obama. Recently resigned Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. Prime Minister of Finland, Sanna Marin, who I believe at the time she was elected was the youngest Prime Minister in the world. 4 years ago or
exactly.
so. Monsieur le Président, Emmanuel Macron. And finally, because of course this is from the UN Security Council, Xi Jinping has forced his way into the list of nominations.
Yeah, he's a notable addition here, I would say. But so it's a shorter list this time, and
not many leaders out there.
No, well, I mean, all great leaders in their own right, but are they good climbers of summits is the question. And actually, okay, obviously I'm going to do the honorable thing and rule out Winnie the Pooh first and foremost. Xi Jinping, he is off the list.
Mr. Xi, thanks for trying.
Thanks
Better
for trying.
luck next year.
I can give detailed feedback if you want separately, but
I'm sure he's busy with other things.
Yeah, he has a few things to focus on. So I think of the remaining list, and if I'm following the process of elimination, Emmanuel Macron, I am actually unfortunately going to have to say goodbye to as well. And it's not because he wouldn't be a good addition, but he's in very esteemed company here. And I think...
so it's not too much ego or anything along those lines?
I wouldn't rule that out either. But, he's a great candidate and just not right for this team.
Okay, that's fair.
Team fit.
So 2 UN Security Council members out.
Overrated, yeah, let's say, for this trip.
Hey, that's all right.
So we're down to Sanna, Jacinda, and Barack. Now, the one problem...
I love how you're on a first-name basis with all three.
Of course, yeah. They do the same with me, it's fine. But with Barack, I'm a bit worried because he's getting on now. He's like 61, As we said here, he would have been a great candidate. And if there was like a nice 40 or something next to his name, I'd be like, yeah, man, he's still got it in him. But what I can't have on this trip is liabilities. And with all the will in the world, with the best of intentions, I don't want Barack turning around saying, my legs are tired. I don't want to climb anymore.
So Mr. Obama, who works out every day, is super fit, a lover of the outdoors, could be a liability.
I just think it's all relative here, right? And if I'm forced to choose between Barack Hussein Obama and somebody who's almost 20 years younger or more than 20 years younger or close to it, I'm going to probably look for the spring chicken. And that's nothing against our older listeners. They're more than welcome to join me on any mountaineering trips. I'm saying right now, I'm basing it purely on the stats here, on the numbers. I'm picking a baseball team. It's like Moneyball. He gets on base. That's what we're going for here. I hope somebody got that reference because it's a deep cut.
It's great.
But
just one thing, if I may,
please.
to consider when you're going down the age rabbit hole.
Okay.
Is that it is not always such a negative correlation with age when it comes to endurance sports.
Agree.
We actually see your resilience improve. So we see a lot of marathoners getting their PBs, at at 60
Sure.
And so on. So just to kind of keep that in mind, and also the wisdom factor for your team potentially that might come with age. Not for everyone,
100%.
But just so we get that out there for later categories.
Indeed. So I think what we're down to is kind of Jacinda and Sana, and then Barack maybe still as an outside choice here, or maybe we'll come back when I have to double dip on these categories, right? But between Sana and Jacinda, personally, I'm closer in age to Sana and feel like we would personality-wise get on fine over that long training period, as you say. And I think she has the mental fortitude, the leadership skills. I think she'd be a great addition. She's slight enough in figure. I hope she has the strength. So that would be my only concern. And then if I compare with Jacinda, who we know has just taken leave of office or decided to step down. So she has the time at least. She's not focused on other things. She is a taller lady. She has potentially more strength to offer on the climb. She's tired though, as she says herself, right? So maybe this, if she needs maybe a longer holiday first before she jumps into this training session, right? So then on that basis alone, actually, I'm back between Sana and Barack Obama.
Okay. So Barack's back into the mix.
Yeah. Just because Jacinda, I think, knowing that she needs a break, I think this isn't the right time for her.
All right.
I think any other time, Jacinda at the peak of her powers is more than welcome, but we know she needs a break right now. Okay. So I think...
Respect Jacinda,
100%. What about, let's give it to Sana for now, because she's a phenomenon. She's a genius, one of the most successful young politicians of all time. Absolutely. She's got something to offer to this team, I'm pretty sure.
Is there a worry with Sana potentially about her wanting to let loose at base camp at some point?
I knew this would come up. To be honest, no, because I think she knows that she only lets loose when it's like responsible to do so. Okay. And she certainly doesn't need to worry about being betrayed by any of her fellow teammates here filming it and putting it online. So
there is no reception there, I imagine.
Exactly. And we'll have a no phones policy anyway. So
very good.
High trust relationships here. And it'll be a place of trust.
Fantastic. So far we have Serena Williams and we have Sanna Marin.
Absolutely.
Neil, what category do you want to choose from next?
Let's get into actors.
Okay, this is a bit of a longer list, gives you something to chew on. So, the Canadian of Star Trek fame, Bill Shatner, Meryl Streep, Oscar winner, multi-time Oscar winner. Then Wallace, Michael B. Jordan.
Wallace.
Then Javier Bardem, one of your favorite movie villains of all time.
Absolutely.
Then a man who you built a time capsule with, Sylvester Stallone.
Back on the podcast once again.
Unbelievable. Then one of my favorite actresses of the last 10 years, Jessica Chastain. Followed by Jennifer Lawrence, who we all hope gets her career back on track. I'd like to see her in more quality films. Then Sandra Bullock, who seems to never age.
Phenomenal.
And Keanu Reeves.
Well, again with the age thing. Now, Bill, what age are we talking here on Bill?
Bill Shatner, we're talking 91.
Okay.
But if you look at him, you wouldn't say so.
Yeah, but I gotta base this on something here, right? Like,
he went on a rocket with Jeff Bezos. Don't forget.
I remember.
He was super happy about
it. He got snubbed by Jeff back on solid earth. Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunate for Bill, but like with Xi Jinping, I'm going to have to extend my heartfelt condolences to Billy here and tell him thanks for applying, but it's not going to be this time.
Could have been his last chance.
Maybe next time. And again,
I don't think there'll be a next time for Bill.
Maybe not. But by the same token, again, maybe I'm being ageist here, but I think both Sylvester, my time capsule friend from episode 1 or 2, I guess it was, and Meryl, who, we all know Meryl, I will rate as a phenomenal actress.
The
always.
GOAT of actresses?
One of. I think that might get turned around very liberally these days, without maybe enough thought being put into it. So I don't want to throw that out as like a definitive one, but a phenomenal actress, of course. And but unfortunately not a phenomenal Everest climber, I can imagine. So for that reason, Meryl and Stallone, I'm going to have to thank you for your interest, but not this time. So if I can rapid fire then through, my top candidates here would be Keanu, who we know has just a phenomenal work ethic and loves to do physical acting of all kinds.
They say great human being.
Great human being. I mean, he's an awesome guy. We have Michael B., who...
Where's Wallace?
He's since The Wire been a phenomenal actor and has come into his own recently, as we all know.
Huge A-lister.
Absolutely. And then between the remaining ladies, we had Jessica Chastain, who I'm actually not super familiar with. I almost feel like I don't know her well enough to make a comment on like if her personality is a good fit. Yeah, that's a problem. Jennifer Lawrence, I think, has done phenomenal work and shown amazing work ethic. I mean, just putting out the sheer number of films that she has done.
Yes.
She just she went through that particular phase around the Hunger Games time when it was just bam, 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 bam.
Bam, bam.
She did not stop. So I like the work ethic. And Sandra Bullock, as you said, does not age. She seems to have this kind of a permanent glow about her. So fair play to her. It's a tricky one. I'm conscious that I've also chosen 2 ladies so far. And I do want there to be some degree of balance to this thing.
Okay,
it needs to be a well-rounded team. And I think in the interest of expediency alone, I have to go with my gut here and actually go with Keanu.
Mr. Reeves.
Mr. Reeves himself.
Somebody that I can't think of a single negative thing to say about.
I can say 1 or 2 negative things about some of his performances, perhaps. But,
yes.
I mean, but as a guy, as a person, amazing.
As a person.
Yeah.
So you will be bringing Keanu Reeves
to Everest. He's more than welcome. I think he'd jump at it as well.
I think so.
If it was for world peace, yeah.
Well, he knows he's on the list, so now I'm sure he's ecstatic to have been chosen. So Keanu Reeves joins Serena Williams and Sanna Marin.
100%. We've only got 2 categories left.
And then we will need to choose your alternate as well.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into musician/author.
Okay, your choices for musician/author are Beyonce Knowles, Pink, who I feel has been around forever but is only 43 years old, Shaggy from Jamaica. You remember Shaggy?
I do, unfortunately. Well, no, he's a good guy.
He's still making music.
Bring him back for a one-hit wonder episode. I mean, that was,
he had a few, because he did that Mr. Bombastic, but then Wasn't Me. Okay. He was around. Let's show some respect to Shaggy.
Okay.
Then, former child prodigy and probably the best cellist of all time, Yo-Yo Ma.
Amazing.
Now we get into 3 authors, okay?
Yeah. Something else. Yeah.
Your man, Kazuo Ishiguro, Remains of the Day.
Absolutely. I'm not sure how he made it in here, but okay, let's power through.
Well, he won a Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Hey, can we show some respect?
Did he apply? Like, is that the logic here? Like, he would have had to put his name forward, or just to be clear?
Yes, he put his name forward, but he was then nominated by the UN Security Council.
Yes. Okay, but he knows that this is happening. He wants to be involved. Okay. Okay.
100%.
That's my first. Okay.
Now, a man who was kind of forced. His hand was forced for the nomination, but he knows this is happening. Is Stephen King?
Yeah.
From Bangor, Maine.
Back from episode 1. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the heroes of Lost in Postulation, actually.
On the wall of like headshots that we have, he's like up there as one of our idols.
And an avid listener.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he loves it. Loves it.
Exactly. And then finally, J.K. Rowling.
A little bit of hot soup for J.K. right now. I don't know if you've been following, but
what's going on with that?
Well, J.K. has recently decided that she hates trans people, and
oh no, she's going that way.
Likes to use her Twitter account to bash them on a regular basis. Basically.
Really?
Yeah. It's actually worth a glance at one stage. Just pull up Twitter and pull up J.K. and she basically spends her time apparently not writing books, but just finding ways to dunk on trans people.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it's caused a lot of people to really second guess now. Like, for example, there was a new Harry Potter game that came out,
right?
And a lot of people are just leaving it because they're like, I can't.
She's sabotaging her own legacy in a way.
So it would seem. She seems to believe genuinely in what she's doing, but it's just like, wow, it has really not gone down well, I can tell you. But anyway, so
she's out.
Well, I think so. I just don't want to be socializing too much with her anymore.
Okay.
And actually, an interesting one here. Pink just jumps out of this list that may bit, because we all know Pink has a bit of attitude and, has a lot of kind of a firmness and anger. Yeah, exactly. A bit of anger about her, which I think will serve us well on the trip. And not to be harsh on the other musicians and authors, but I don't think this is a star-studded list of climbing superstars here. As much as I would love to have dinner with the likes of Kazuyo Ishiguro or Stephen King, I would perhaps not choose them as my first choice here for climbing Mount Everest. Controversially enough, Yo-Yo Ma, same thing. Huge fan of his actually. From interviews I've heard with him, like his philosophy towards music, his approach is just incredible.
I heard one today. He was on a podcast with Adam Grant actually.
I think that's the one I heard.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Funny enough, we worked together and on this podcast.
What a guy, yeah. But yeah, so huge fan, and again, maybe just not for this one. And Beyonce as well. I don't know. I think she would get through it. I don't know if she would love it though. And we said that they had to enjoy it and be ready to talk about it after.
Right.
I don't know. I'm a bit worried. I feel like she's such a superstar that I, and maybe even the other attendees, the other celebs would be like, wow, like kind of a bit in awe of her.
Starstruck.
Yeah, and like 'cause she's just so great. But like for that reason alone, I actually have to. I'm going to go with my gut here and go Pink all the way.
I think that's a great choice.
Yeah.
I think she will play an outsized role in this team. She will
100%.
be up there with Camirita, I think.
100%. She'll be leading the way.
Yeah,
She'll be carrying him by the end of it. Yeah.
Well done, Pink.
Well done, Pink.
Coming
Welcome.
up. So let's get this party started.
Let's get it closed here with the final business person. In fact.
Yeah. Now they're here because they finance the initiatives, and as is often the case, then they want to piggyback along. So
Absolutely.
they could be a dead weight, but you can't do without them.
Fair.
So three options.
Let's
you ready?
go. I'm ready.
One of your favorite people in the world in recent times, Elon Musk. Then Melinda Gates of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And then Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Not spoiled for choice here.
Nope.
So of those three, obviously I would rule out Elon and Jeff straight away. Sorry,
All right.
Personality basis alone, they're not welcome. I don't want them anywhere near me or the group. Which leaves Melinda by process of elimination. But I don't, like I said a bit with Jessica Chastain, I don't really feel like I know enough to like make a strong call. And because I haven't used my wild card yet, I think I'm going to have to use it here.
Oh,
I'm going to drop that
bing, bing, bing.
on WC right now, and I know who I'm using it for.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
I have to be.
Welcome to the team, Richard Branson.
Oh, yes.
You see?
He doesn't fit your age logic, though.
That's okay. That's okay. Because I heard him on a podcast recently, and he is sounding sprightly as ever. And his attitude is phenomenal. He's like, I know a controversial figure. I know he's had his, his share of scandals in the papers and whatnot. But his philosophy towards stuff like this, I mean, this is the guy who tried to, who made a boat to sail across the Atlantic to publicize his airline, right?
Yeah.
And it sank. It was, and he has no regrets. He's like, yeah, I'm glad we did it. It was cool. It was
and declared war on Coca-Cola in the middle of Times Square with Virgin Cola, and that also sank.
And but this is his approach. He's like, I don't listen to CFOs. I don't listen to finance people. If I have an idea that I think is cool, I just go and do it.
And he says in his own words, screw it, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of attitude do we need on this trip? It's that exact throwing caution to the wind, throwing the logic out the window, and just get on with it.
All right.
Climb Everest. So welcome to the team, Mr. Branson.
Mr. Branson, well done with the wild card. So now, Neil, before we choose roles, before we break to choose roles, I need you to choose an alternate.
Yeah.
And that alternate, remember, will be doing a lot of the work, but will essentially not be getting any of the glory.
Well, actually, this is an easy choice because at the start we said the athlete group was the clear front runners here, obviously. And there was one in particular that I really felt a bit of regret for not taking, and that is, of course, Lionel Messi.
The captain of Argentina will be your alternate.
Absolutely. And if there's anyone who I know will have the mental fortitude and the positive attitude to deal with the trauma of training and not coming up the mountain, it's going to be Messi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so there you go.
Fair enough. So, Neil, we will break now, but let's first sum up your choices. So, from the athlete category, straight out of Compton, 23-time Grand Slam champion, it's Serena Williams. Then, the Prime Minister of Finland, Sanna Marin. The actor is Keanu Reeves. Musician, Pink. Business person financing the operation, Sir Richard Branson.
Indeed.
And the alternate will be Lionel Messi.
It's a strong team.
I feel it's strong. I think you guys stand a good chance. It'll be make or break depending on the roles you choose for them after the break. listeners, yet again. I am here with Neil, who is going to go up Mount Everest with the following all-star cast: Serena Williams, Sanna Marin, Keanu Reeves, Pink, Sir Richard Branson, and Lionel Messi for part of the journey. Now, Neil, we need to assign roles because that's going to be the cornerstone of success here. Everyone needs to play their part. The Sherpa and you cannot do everything, although the Sherpa can do a lot more than you.
Yeah.
Now, the roles we need are captain. So this is the motivator. This is really the emotional leader of the troop. Then we need someone in charge of the entertainment. Like, you're gone a long time. It can't always be game face.
Fair.
Okay? We need someone, this is highly important, in charge of the food rationing. Okay?
Yep.
And to be the key decision maker of anything that has to do with food, nutrition, liquids, etc. Then we need someone that is in charge of the oxygen intake. Remember, you are amateur climbers. You are bringing oxygen with you to the top. Of course, it's a limited amount. And then we need somebody in charge of the general navigation in tandem with our Sherpa. So someone that really needs to emulate the Sherpa in that sense, in case anything happens to our guy.
And then we have Lionel, who is already he's already signed up as a reserve, I guess.
Lionel is the alternate.
So
I think he'll be in good spirits. He'll be grilling some asados at the base camp and loving
life. Okay. Well, this is tricky, actually. Some of them are like more obvious than others, but I'm worried that I'll kind of paint myself into a corner here by assigning some quick ones, you know. So I want to be at least a bit considered here. I think when it comes to entertainment, it's between two. It's going to be either Pink or Keanu.
Okay.
And I think between them, I think probably Pink, because like she can bust out a song as we go, if it's still, if it's manageable for her, if she's not too out of breath or whatever.
Right.
Whereas Keanu, it's like his form of entertainment is acting, which is like not exactly going to help us. But I do think Pink will be able to play a good role on entertainment. She's also a fun personality. I think she'll be fun.
So we'll put Pink in charge of entertainment.
I think so, because we can't really give it to anyone else right now. So I think that's safe.
Okay.
So that's one. If I think to captain, this is probably a crucial role, the motivator part.
Yes.
And it's tricky, actually.
Yes, very.
Because with Richard, I don't trust him with the food or the oxygen or the navigation, really. Because I think he's too fast and loose,
Right.
But I do think he has a bit of charisma and a bit of leadership, right?
Okay.
So it's more actually that I don't trust him with the other stuff.
Right.
That I'm going to make him the
detail,
the captain / motivator. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. More motivator based, let's say. Yeah.
So Richard Branson is the captain, is the face of the journey now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try that out for size anyway. So we've two down.
All right.
Food rationing and oxygen intake I see as quite similar. So it's all about allocation of resources. It's all about being fair, being democratic. So who better to ration the food than Sanna Marin, champion of democracy?
Okay.
So as a political leader, I think someone who's used to working with limited resources,
making the sausage, as they say.
Exactly, how the sausage gets made, making sure that things get split up in a fair way, that things go to where they should.
Okay.
So I think food rationing we can give safely enough to Sanna.
Okay, that's great. No hard feelings, I think, on that one.
No,
from any of the others.
I think that's fair. I think everyone would vote that way. On oxygen intake, who do we even have left? So we have Keanu, Serena for oxygen and navigation respectively. So let's put Serena on oxygen intake. Why? Because I think sooner or later there's going to be some conflict about it where someone's going to want a little bit more oxygen and she's going to have to make the hard decision and say, guys, no, this is being rationed.
She'll stand her ground.
She'll stand her ground and no one's going to be able to take it from her because she's so goddamn strong.
Okay.
So oxygen is in good hands. And then from navigation, like, am I thrilled about this selection? No, to be honest. Keanu and navigation are not two words that go directly hand in hand, let's say. That said, I mean, you've heard how I allocated the others that are pretty, good allocations.
Right.
So this is an unfortunate downside of the one role per person allocation system, that somebody gets left with a role they don't love. And I do think that of all people, Keanu is probably the most mature and the most humble about it. Well, he'll say, yeah, okay, I'll do the navigation. I'll do what needs to be done.
Well, now remember that the one doing the navigation is the one that's essentially shadowing the Sherpa. Who better to try to emulate someone than an actor of Keanu's
there
caliber?
You go. Yeah, watch and learn.
Let's call it method acting.
Monkey see, monkey do. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe he'll just want to stay on as a Sherpa forever afterwards.
I would not. Nothing would surprise me less, to be honest.
Very spiritual guy.
He's a very spiritual guy. Oh, 100%.
If that has anything to do with it. But,
why not?
Yeah. Finding the true north.
There you go.
So, there we have it. Are you happy with your selections?
Actually, pretty delighted, especially because when you look at the full list, it's like with a lot of duds in there, no offense to the list, where, there are people that you just couldn't bring. So I'm great. I'm delighted that we've found a list of these like 6 people who I'm actually really genuinely think it could work,
Great.
Not a weak link in there.
Great. So we will read them out one last time for the listeners. In charge of the oxygen, Serena Williams. In charge of food, Sanna Marin. Navigating us and shadowing the Sherpa, Keanu Reeves. In charge of entertainment, Pink. And the captain and lead sponsor, Sir Richard Branson. Let's not forget the alternate, the reserve, staying at the base camp, Lionel Messi.
Huge.
I think we've got a squad. I think you stand a great chance of reaching the summit, of getting to world peace, and we look forward in future episodes to have a full report from you and the team.
I'll do a proper postulation as to how that goes next time, yeah.
Yes, great. So we will break here before coming back for your parting shot.
And we are back once again, just for a parting shot. I like that phrase. Yeah, a final closing postulation just to see us off, and maybe open the door to some listener postulations as well. I, as you know, Nicola, but as our listeners might not, spent last weekend in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam,
huh? It was a lovely, lovely weekend. I was visiting my bro who was having his 30th and his 30th birthday. Yeah, congrats to the bro. Great times. Karaoke was sung. Fun times were had. It was great.
And Neil's a good singer.
Hey, that wasn't why. It was a great time regardless. But that aside, I also had a chance with some of the free time to walk around Amsterdam a bit and kind of get a feel for it, as I like to do when I do these city trips. And there was something actually about Amsterdam, and I've been there a few times, but something that I'm not sure if it's just me or if this is a thing, right? But it seems like in Amsterdam now, versus any other time I've been there are an amazing quantity of great quality cafes, restaurants, what have you, but every single one of them has a massive queue outside at all times. Okay. At least in a weekend, right? That I from our hotel, I googled like what's a good coffee place. One looked amazing.
Cafes, we're talking strictly coffee.
Yeah. Sorry, not the other thing, right? But purely just to get a good filter coffee, where can I go? And I find one. It's a 20-minute walk. Let's go. And I get there, and there's a full-on queue down the road, like out the door down the road, and everyone seems seemingly happy to be standing in that queue, right? But it struck me as like, you don't really get that here in Copenhagen. I mean, like, at least if I go to a cafe, I can at least get the coffee without too much trouble, right? Down the road, we're talking. And then that was like a one-off. But then each time I kept walking around, it was the same everywhere. It was every great brunch place, every great cafe, every restaurant that is not like booking based. You're going to be standing and waiting. Even some shops you're going to be standing and waiting for. And it struck me then that has Amsterdam perhaps just become too full of discerning consumers who know where the best places are, and they go there in their droves, right?
Or weekend tourists,
perhaps. But it seemed like it was a good mix of locals and tourists as well. But it struck me as quite annoying, actually.
Yeah, like, sounds like it.
As the morning went on, I was like, is there anywhere I can just walk in and get a coffee without standing still outside in the actual rain? You know, like it was quite frustrating. Yeah, and what is an otherwise great city was a little bit hampered, I thought, by and same with the nightclubs, by the way. When we went out that night, it was like to get into a bar, it was like, how many are you? No, you're gonna have to wait one out, one in, all this. Like it just really felt like there are a lot of freaking people here. So lovely city, as we know. Like it's especially once you get out of the center, absolutely lovely. Everything past the Vondel Park is just super nice, and that's where most people live.
Gorgeous
but like
city.
Amazing, but like gave me pause there to think, is it really maybe just getting a bit too full?
Yeah, I mean, the Netherlands is known for being incredibly densely populated because it is a tiny land mass country, but it has 17 million people living in it.
Yeah,
and Amsterdam being its biggest city. So it could be due to that. It could also be having, again, another tourism boom, because, as you said, it is a great city to go to if you live in Europe just for the weekend. There are low-cost flights from everywhere. Everyone goes out there. It's a city that gets better and better each time you visit it, because 100%. You get away from kind of the touristy areas.
Oh, yes. The worst part of it is the center, right?
Exactly.
Like the touristy part. Yeah.
And the Dutchies are great. For me, some of the savviest people there. I love the city. I ran a marathon even through those streets. Like, but that's interesting about the coffees. The Dutchies love their coffee, apparently. But could there also be an opportunity here to for people to get their butts to Amsterdam and open more coffee shops to satisfy the demand?
I'm like, the market demand is there. Get it down there. Like, just if you're a coffee person and you're looking for a business opportunity, get yourself down to Amsterdam.
That's interesting. I'm actually going to be there in a couple of weeks, in 3 or 4 weeks,
let's see what
for
you
a weekend
think.
as well. So I'm on the lookout for that.
I think it'll be worse. It'll be worse when you're there, because it'll be warmer. There'll be more tourists.
Exactly. But at least then you're not waiting outside in the cold and the rain, right?
True that. Okay. A bit of sun. You might not even be complaining. In fact, you'll be happy. Yeah.
Very interesting postulation. Listeners, it would be great to hear from you if you've noticed this also in your cities or other cities you've visited, potentially even in Amsterdam. The trend of just queuing for coffees, which you could probably make at home yourself.
It's not okay. Yeah. Down with queues. But thanks everybody for joining once again. What an episode we have. We have assembled the dream team for ascending Everest, and
what a ride.
What a ride it has been. Episode 11 in the bag. How about that?
The show goes on.
Looking forward to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Nicole Volpe.